All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I'm Onebar with Lupagus. Little Vikings' latest trade rumors. Will they? Won't they? This episode is brought to you by BetUS. Get over there, get 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your next two deposits up to $2,000 using the promo code YouTube150. Fast payouts, wonderful customer service. BetUS. Hit it up. Let's talk about if the Vikings might hit up themselves a trade.
Yeah, and we've talked about this, a couple times this week, but this is coming now. Alec Lewis, and when Alec Lewis says stuff, it tends to actually carry some weight. He said Vikings fans should expect something at the trade deadline. However, he questions how aggressive they'll get with a minimal bundle of picks in the 25 draft. Says the staff is pretty satisfied with the roster depth. The fact that Alec Lewis is coming out saying this I think it's worth paying attention to.
It is, and what else is worth paying attention to is Kwesi has done this every year he's been here, and that's kind of his angle. I mean, it might not be a sexy trade, but looking at the 2 years ago, TJ Hawkinson, boom. We also traded for Josh Dobbs, boom. Ooh. Last year, out of nowhere, no one was expecting it. All of a sudden, Ezra Cleveland is traded to the Jaguars for a 6th-round pick. So It doesn't necessarily mean we're trading for somebody. Maybe we're trading somebody away for something else.
Yeah, and, who do you make that deal with? You look at the bottom-feeding teams right now. I mean, the Cleveland Browns, the Tennessee Titans, the Patriots, the Dolphins. There's a lot of teams that aren't playing well and that, trade deadline's approaching here in a couple weeks. They may be sellers. So, again, those bad teams looking to acquire some draft picks.
Yeah, and you know what? Those bad teams have some good players that who wouldn't love to come to a 5-0 Minnesota Vikings team? So we're going to talk about some possible positions, maybe even some guys that the Vikings will trade away. But let's start off position-wise because we're going to do another video where we actually look at specific players. But if the Vikings were to, let's say this trade is to help bolster their team, help bolster this squad. They're not looking for like a late-round pick or something to get rid of somebody a la Ezra Cleveland.
Yeah, and let's, before we get into that, let's just talk about, why not go all in, right? Like, why not do it? Like, make sure you have more than enough needed. You're 5-0 right now. You're killing very good teams. Let's keep this going, and let's go. Let's put all the chips in right now. Positions you're talking about, let me drop all three of mine or just one to start with?
Throwing out there.
Well, I'm going running back.
They're obvious.
Running back is the big one to me, especially depending on Aaron Jones. If he's truly week to week, he's had these injuries before. It's a hip again. That one concerns me, and really behind Ty Chandler, there's not much on this depth chart. You can't give the ball to C.J. Ham unless he's on the goal line. So running back to me is a big one.
Yeah, running back is an easy one. If Aaron Jones is expected to be back soon, then it's not a need. We don't need it. Him and Ty Chandler make a great duo, so running back will be one. There's a ton of them out there that won't cost you much. I mean, maybe a late-round pick for running back that's just buried on somebody's depth chart. Defensive line is another easy one. They got those big ass sexy names out there, but my thought is if they actually make a trade on the defensive line, it's not for that. It's not the Dexter Lawrence, not the Williams. It's not the Simmons from the Titans. Like, it would be beautiful, and I'd be all fine giving up a 1st-round pick for it. But more of that rotational dude, or maybe a fringe guy that just keeps them all fresh, because the defense is our bread and butter, and the more bodies, the better. And again, I don't think it's something that they give up a ton for.
I'm actually going to disagree. I think if they do go D-line, that might be the big swing. Like, why not? Why not do it? It's probably your biggest need in the offseason. You're going to be picking late in the draft. If you do keep that number 1 pick, why not take a swing and get one of those guys you mentioned? So they go D-line. I think that might be the sexy one. I got O-line too on my list. Just, I know Dalton Reisner is coming back, and it does give you some, definitely a boost. But still, maybe a swing tackle, something like that. Just, another guy besides Q-Bear that you can
show Q-Bear some respect.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, what if one of the guys gets hurt for the year? Let's say Darasaw's out.
If I grow another
left tackle, you need somebody else there for backup. So I think one more swing tackle wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, they can take tackle and shove it up their butt. If they're trading for somebody on the offensive line, I want a guard/center. That's what I want. I want it so bad. I'll take Q-Bear out there opposed to Dan Feeney, even though he looks like he loves to party, and I love that guy more than anything.
He parties.
So yeah, the offensive line, and then cornerback. Cornerback is one that. Just depth-wise, I mean, our guys have played very well, but, like, we're one play away from a Caleb Evans being out there. And you know what? These guys aren't spring chickens. 5 games in, they've looked good. Let's see how they look in week 13, week 14. So cornerback, again, that would be more of a depth-type move, a guy that's like that number 3, number 4 type of corner. So I got corner.
Yeah, but all that being said, they'll probably trade for some position we don't see, like inside linebacker.
Well, and Kwesi has proven he's much smarter than this. Let's look. Remember, this is brought to you by BetUS. So let's take a quick look over there. Vikings are off. So I want to look at the Packers. -5 against the Cardinals. Cardinals are a very interesting, mysterious team.
They are. Some weeks they look good. Some weeks they look awful. I think the Packers are the better team there, so I would take the Packers in this one.
I'm taking the points, though. I'm taking the Cardinals. I think that's going to be closer than expected. Let's look quick at what the Lions -3. God, I hope that's like 43-4. I hope that's a big ass shootout.
Yeah, and Dallas too, another team that has looked good at times, has looked bad. So kind of hard one to read there. I would hope as well. Somehow Dallas can pull that one off.
Dally, remember, use that promo code YouTube150. Let's say the Vikings want to pull a move like they did last year. Ezra Cleveland, they're like, you know what? You're out of here. Dalton Reisner's up. And they get like a 6th-round pick, 7th-round pick. Anybody out there that you might look, the Vikings might.
I just went with guys I want to leave.
That's not nice.
I had a guy who maybe has some value to a team because he was just a 4th-round pick a year ago.
Hold on, I'm going to shoot this down. Whatever you're about to say, you might think he has trade value. Doesn't.
I mean, it might be a 7th-round pick 2 years down the road, but like Jay Ward, a young player.
Who the hell's going to trade for Jay Ward?
Maybe some team loved him in the draft and think, oh, okay, we can maybe get this guy and do something with him. Maybe they're not watching the tape. I would be trying to throw him in any deal I make. Here, you can have this. You also can take Jay Ward.
They might have loved him in the draft, but they've also seen him in the last 2 years in the NFL, what he's done. So that I think the love. You know what? I want draft picks for Jay Ward too.
Team also have this hubris where they think they can fix the guy. We can fix the guy. We loved him. We can fix him. So I'm hoping some team really thinks they can fix Jay Ward.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. I got a Caleb Evans on there, and he's kind of in the same boat. But a Caleb Evans has started a lot of games in the NFL. And that does carry some weight as far as a depth piece like a Caleb Evans. I mean, a Caleb Evans is proving that he really shouldn't even be on special teams at this point. I don't think he's had a sniff on actual defense this year. And, maybe this was a guy they tried to trade at the end of final roster moves, but Caleb Evans just sticks out to me as the guy that could.
He was my other one. I went back and forth. I finally settled on Ward, but Evans to me is the same thing. Like, who the hell is going to want to trade for Caleb Evans? Seeing the tape, seeing how bad he was, especially last year, like where he just didn't look like he knew what he was doing. With Brian Flores' defense, you got to know not just your job, but a bunch of other jobs because he's going to ask you to do different things every single snap. So Caleb Evans isn't catching on to that. Why is he still on this team? I don't know.
What about one of the guards? Let's see, Dalton Reisner comes out and and he's starting, or Ed Ingram's going to be the starter. I wouldn't be opposed to them shipping off one of those guards. Why not?
Yeah. I was trying to pick like a sneaky one. I thought, well, maybe Nick Mullins, but I don't think they'll trade Nick Mullins. I don't know. Who'd want him again? But like, I don't know. The Raiders, they're down to like, Minshew isn't panning out. Aiden O'Connell's there. I mean,
I think they're fine just getting the first overall pick.
I was trying to find a surprising one, but that's why I just settled just a bad player I want off the team.
Yeah, I mean, if the Vikings actually trade a player away, it's probably going to be a rant. It's not like we're trading Patrick Jones away for a whatever. I mean, it's not anything like that. So I do expect them to make a trade. It might not be glorious. It might be the grossest thing ever. It might not make sense, but I do expect a trade. I think it's just in Kwesi's blood.
Yeah, and coming from Alec Lewis, it does carry some weight, and potentially could happen. So we'll see what happens. Trade deadline's in a couple weeks, and Vikings again. If Kwesi doesn't, it'll be the first time in his tenure he has not made a move at the deadline.
All right, let us know in the comments. Are they going to make a trade? Who's it going to be for? Remember, this is brought to you by BetUS. Use the promo code YouTube150.
And also remember this: there was once a pig in Australia. He stole 18 beers from campers, got drunk, and he fought a cow.
God, I want to hang out with that pig so much.